First thing you're going to need is one of these right here. Now, I found this one, I believe, at Walmart. It's perfect size. It is, let me see, 1 gallon. Right, that's 3.8 liters. What I really like about this is that when I make the recipe and it rises, the dough perfectly fits all the way to the top as it rises. Also, what I like about this is it stores very nicely. If you make 4 loaves, so you can make 2 loaves with this, 2 1.5-pound loaves right here. If you have multiple, you can easily stack this in the fridge. What you're going to have to do, however, is make sure you make 2 little holes in here, so when it rises that the gases, if you will, can escape right here through these little holes. So again, pretty standard plastic 1 gallon container. I'm doing everything right in here. So also, let's clean up afterwards. Okay, that's another big advantage. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so first ingredient is lukewarm water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create and open up my hot water spout. It's essential to make sure that you don't have hot water because the hot water is going to kill the yeast. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have water that's lukewarm, if you will. If you want, you can use a thermometer here to measure. Kind of feel for that temperature. That into my container, just like so. That's 2, and so I need 1 more. There you go, 1 cup. There you go. Close this. Okay, next ingredient we're going to be needing is yeast. I purchased Fleischmann's Active Dry Yeast, so we're going to be needing 1.5 tablespoons of that. So here we got 1 tablespoon and 1/2 tablespoon. So I'm going to put that in there. Second ingredient is flour. So I'm using gold medal here. Make sure it's unbleached, all-purpose flour. Just basic unbleached white flour. What's important here is that we use the scoop and sweep method. So again, we have 6.5 cups. So I got my measuring tool. I got 1.5 cups. So make sure you remember the amount of flour that you put in there. You can shake it a little bit to dissolve the yeast. So scoop and sweep. Scoop this up, and with the edge of a knife, go ahead and sweep the remaining part out. So we got 1. What I like to do now is put the salt in on top of the flour instead of in the water with the yeast, because it's basically would break down. It's going to break down the fermentation process. Okay, so we're going to need 1.5 tablespoons. So I'm using coarse sea salt. Okay. Now, I found over the years I've been doing this that personally I think with 1.5 it's a little too salty, so I like to just use 1 tablespoon as opposed to 1.5 tablespoons for the salt. But again, that's personal taste. Okay. Okay, we have all our ingredients. We got water, we got the yeast, we got the flour, and we got the salt. So now we're going to use a wooden spoon and mix everything. The plastic tub I'm using is a Rubbermaid, and it's 1.1 gallons. Okay, so just make sure it's 1.1 or more, which will perfectly fit the amount of dough. Once it rises, you'll see it will completely rise and it'll completely fill exactly to the top. So that's why I really like this container right here. Okay, so again, 40 minutes to an hour. Let's come back in a little bit. Okay, bread's been rising for about 50 minutes. Oven has reached its temperature. Let's have a look. Beautiful. So, time to form the dough. You'll notice it's a really wet dough. And today I'm going to try something special. I'm going to make one loaf. I'm going to cut this right down half. Make one loaf with cheese. I got some Parmesan cheese here, salty cheese. And then the other loaf, I'm just going to make a plain loaf with that one. Okay. So what I'm going to need is a sharp knife to cut the dough in half, like so. There you go. 2 portions. There you go. Gonna flour my work surface. Put some flour on my work surface. There you go. Take the dough. And there you go. You'll notice it's a very wet dough. So if you want, you can make your hands wet. Makes it a little easier to work with the dough. Now, forming the dough shouldn't be too difficult at all. Only takes about 30 seconds to a minute. So what you basically do is you take the dough and kind of fold it into itself like so. So you keep turning. If it's too wet, just take some more flour like so. There you go. And just keep forming, keep turning the loaf and keep basically folding it into itself like so. Now what I like to do is also after this is just leave the dough and let it rest a little bit. So, like to use some semolina, like so. Semolina flour used to get the bottom of the loaf like so. There you go. So, sprinkle some dough on it and slash it with a knife, like so. There you go. Let's let it rest a little bit and then it's ready to go into the oven. the loaves in the corner. And the cheese one goes right there. Water and close. And let's go ahead and bake for about 30 to 35 minutes. About 5 minutes before the end of the baking process, go ahead and open the oven briefly to let all the moist, the excess moist escape. Just a few seconds like so. And close the oven door again. Okay, 35 minutes into the baking process, let's go ahead and switch off the oven. Take a towel and let's turn the loaves around. Evaluate the loaves. Go ahead and turn it upside down so that the heat can work its magic on the bottom of the oven. There you go. And that was the thermometer. Don't worry about that. There you go. Let's grab that thermometer. There you go. And close the oven again. So here we go. The loaves just came out of the oven. On the right side we have the regular loaf. On the left side we have the cheese loaf. Looks beautiful. Smells great. So let them sit on a rack here to cool off a little bit. Enjoy.